Meanwhile, information continues to emerge about Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the hero of the left who was visited by an actual sitting United States senator, supposed victim of the Trump administration. Now, according to Breitbart News, Kilmar Abrego Garcia is being investigated by the DOJ after a convicted human smuggler told the FBI that he hired Abrego Garcia to smuggle illegal immigrants into the United States, according to a new report. So you guys picked the wrong victim, man. Again, the Democrats are apparently utterly incapable of saying two things at once. Kilmar Abrego Garcia should not be in the country and seems to be a quite bad person. And also, everybody is entitled to some level of due process. Now, to be fair, Republicans are also having a difficult time holding those two thoughts in place at the same time. So the Democrats are like, no, he's probably wonderful. He's a Maryland father. And then it turns out that he has been for years accused of being an MS-13 gang member. And his wife made repeated police reports about him beating her and sought orders of protection against him. And the DHS released a piece of body cam footage from 2022 where troopers pull over Abrego Garcia, and there were 9 people inside the car, none of whom had luggage, which looks a lot like a smuggling operation. But, again, because everything is stupid, we can't hold two ideas at once. So Senator Lankford from Oklahoma, he has come under fire, James Lankford, for saying the obvious here, which is that Kilmar Abrego Garcia should not be in the country. And also, even illegal immigrants have certain rights to due process. That does not amount to like a full jury trial. Typically, before you're deported, you have a hearing before a judge, and then we throw you out. That's what due process amounts to. Here was Lankford.
What's been confusing on this is some people see due process like as an American citizen. That's a right to a jury trial. That's all those different things. That's not true for due process for someone who's not a citizen of the United States. It's a different process. It's often just literally what people call an immigration judge is not a typical federal judge or a state judge. This is someone that's in the bureaucracy, that their task for DHS is that task on it. So they're a government employee career. That's an immigration judge. So it's a very different process for it. But yes, there's a need to be able to give an opportunity for someone to be able to make an argument before they're removed in the country.
Okay, so apparently this is too much. This very, very moderate statement that Lankford is making here, which is saying that there are actual procedures for deporting people and you're supposed to follow those procedures and a court will hold that. This was apparently too much for some people on the right who were angry and fuming. Cat Turd, who, again, amazing to me that a person who calls himself Cat Turd has wide, apparently, appeal and also impact inside the MAGA movement. But, we live in a brand new world where all voices are considered equally wise. He said, I'm so sick of these fake-ass weak cowards in the Republican Party running to fake news CNN to undermine the voters and the president. How is that undermining the voters and the president? Seriously, Lankford is in favor of the deportations. He's just saying that if you actually want to accomplish this, you have to follow the process because otherwise courts will stop you, which is true. Like, I'm sorry, but the idea that Lankford is some sort of traitor for saying the obvious, which is that pursue a good policy in the most precise possible way in order to achieve success. If you want President Trump to succeed, then you can totally agree with his ends and also believe that the means that he is applying to achieve those ends need to be well calibrated. I can totally agree with what he's attempting to do with China while believing that the way he's approaching it is the wrong way and probably destined to backfire. And when it comes to illegal immigration, I can praise the means and the ends when it comes to the southern border. He's been unbelievable on that. The administration has been incredible on that. I can praise Tom Homan to this guy. I think he's great, our borders are. I can praise what Kristi Noem is doing, generally speaking. I can also say, I think we should say, that actually due process rights under the Constitution, as the courts have already ruled, requires some form of process before people are removed. And the Trump administration is best served by expediting all those processes to remove people faster. Because otherwise, you're going to end up in court interminably, fighting these battles for no apparent reason. We'll get to more on this in a moment. First, if you're a homeowner, you do need to listen to this. Did you know somebody can literally steal your house? I don't mean like they pick it up and they carry it away, but a scammer can forge your signature on one document, use a fake notary stamp, and spend about $40 to file it with the county recorder. And then they take out loans using your home as collateral. So they steal the value from your home. You won't even know it's happening until you start getting collection and foreclosure notices in the mail. Can you imagine if you or someone you cared about became a victim of that sort of scam? Well, that would be incredibly sad, frustrating, especially knowing there are people out there like Home Title Lock who can help keep an eye on your title. Most people don't check in on their home title once escrow closes. That's why it's critical to find out right now. If you're already a victim, head on over to HometitleLock.com. They will give you a free title history report, provide you with $1 million triple lock protection to help keep your home and equity safe. That's why I recommend, and I'm proud to partner with Home Title Lock. A lot of our folks over at Daily Wire, including people on this team, trust Home Title Lock to protect what is probably their biggest asset. Again, where you have value, you should protect that value, and Home Title Lock can help you out. You get 24/7 monitoring of your title, urgent alerts if there are any changes, and if fraud does happen, their U.S.-based restoration team will spend up to $1 million to fix the fraud and restore your title. When you go to HometitleLock.com right now and use promo code Shapiro, you can get a free 14-day trial and a title history report to find out if you're already a victim. That's HometitleLock.com, promo code Shapiro. Right, there's plenty of stuff the administration can do to facilitate deportation, including, by the way, cracking down on sanctuary cities. The acting ICE director yesterday mentioned that the Trump administration is going to start going after sanctuary cities. Here's the acting ICE director, a man named Todd Lyons.
So we're going to support men and women in law enforcement. We're going to go out and take these public safety threats out of the communities. Well, when people like the governor of Illinois bar law enforcement from working with another law enforcement agency, it just absolutely makes no sense.
Yeah.
Sanctuary laws just make it so hard for us.
Okay, that is right. That is right. And so going after sanctuary cities for violation of law is well worthwhile. Again, applying the law equally and consistently is a very, very good idea. Applying it inconsistently, policies being applied in wild fashion does not actually achieve the goal. And I'm all about results. I just want to see the results. Listen, when President Trump was running, a lot of people were talking about the character of President Trump or what is he like as a person or any of that. To me, when you look at your politicians, that stuff should be basically irrelevant at this point in time. We are well beyond the point in American history since the Clinton era where character was the deciding factor in presidential elections. Just is not. It isn't. That's why Mitt Romney wasn't president in 2012. Okay. The thing that matters most right now is, does the plumber fix the toilet? That's it. So it matters very little to me whether the plumber intends to fix the toilet and then proceeds to botch the job. All I care about is whether the toilet is fixed. So President Trump wants to fix the toilet. In many areas, he is fixing the toilet that is Washington, D.C. But in places where I think he's going about it the wrong way, I would prefer that he do it better so the toilet gets fixed. And I don't think that pointing that out is a critique of Trump as a president or as a human. I think it is an attempt to call for the right direction to be taken to achieve the actual goals. If you want Trump to succeed, the only thing that succeeds is actual success. Well, meanwhile, DOJ continues to uncover serious waste, fraud, and abuse. The Daily Wire has a fascinating piece. Luke Rosiak, our intrepid investigative reporter, has a pretty amazing piece where our money was going via USAID. According to Luke, when Department of Government Efficiency aides showed up at a small USAID-linked federal agency called the African Development Foundation in March, its management locked the doors and refused to let them in. A fired board member sued to stop DOJ. The group was lauded for resisting DOJ's demands for access to U.S. ADF systems, including financial records, payments, and human resources systems. But according to several former employees, it may have been that the actual objection was something else entirely. That the actual objection was that there was a bit of impropriety going on, shall we say. According to Luke, the African Development Foundation has an annual budget of just $45 million, but operating out of sight and out of mind, it might have been the most corrupt agency in Washington, D.C. Its employees have been sounding the alarm for years about a culture of self-dealing, abuse, anti-white discrimination. By law, the agency is only allowed to give grants to Africa-based groups, but to move money through African entities and then back into the United States to pad the salaries of D.C. bureaucrats and pay friends and former employers, according to employees. Until the DOJ takeover, which culminated in U.S. Marshals ordering building security to let Trump administration officials in, the agency was led by CEO Travis Adkins, who arrived in 2021 after working at USAID. An assistant to Adkins said, after she asked why her paycheck was lower than agreed upon, Adkins informed her the remainder would be coming from an overseas account. According to this woman, Adkins sent me an email connecting me with a guy in Africa who asked for my banking information, and then that guy wired me $17,000. Okay, all of this is really, really sketchy and has led to accusations of international money laundering. And there is indeed an enormous amount of waste, fraud, and abuse in the federal government. DOJ has been uncovering it. Are those the kind of numbers that are going to be sufficient to cure the national deficit or the national debt? No, but it's a step in the right direction. Well, that's all for now, folks. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts down below. Be sure to check out all of the other great content on my channel. I'll see you here next time.